Can you introduce yourself?
My name is Alonzo Dixon.
Alonzo. I met Alonzo by a phone call. And so do you want to share a little bit about yourself?
Let's start out with I grew up on the streets of South Central Los Angeles. I don't want to minimize it, but I lived a very violent lifestyle. It didn't matter what we did, murder, rape, beat people down. I mean, that was the life we lived. But that's the streets of South Central. I spent the last 30 years of my life behind prison walls when I didn't have to. And actually, I shouldn't even be out of prison. I wasn't due for parole until 2030. But God had a plan. It wasn't my plan. I had no hand in me getting out. It was all God's plan. And the people that God put in my life allowed me to do what I'm doing now, and that is to help other people get out of prison and start over. Getting out of prison is hard. Finding housing, jobs, getting that life back together. Sometimes you need a helping hand, and I think that's what God allowed me to do, is to give back to others as others have given to me, because without God in my life, I couldn't do what I do. I couldn't drive this truck. I couldn't live in my home. I wouldn't have a beautiful wife, not even these little puppies I have. Everything that I have, I give it all to God because He blessed me with that. And so everything that I do now is to bless other men to get out and get their lives together. I want them to experience the same joy that I have.
So what you did over 30 years in Texas,
yes.
What caused you to change? Because I know somebody watching this behind the walls is going to be like, man, yeah, that sounds good, but how do I get there? And somebody's watching beyond the walls and they're like, man, that's interesting. Tell me how you changed.
I was sitting in my prison cell one day, and I just really wanted to give up. I had made me a homemade knife. I had my hand on that knife, and I just did not want to live anymore. I was just going to give up. And right when I wanted to give up, there was a knock on my cell door. And that knock changed my life, because when I looked up, I tell you right now, I don't want to hold nothing back. I'm going to tell you the truth. I hated white people. I did not like anybody.
Hold on. We're going to pause because right now we're in the midst of helping people, and we're going to pick back up in a minute.
In 1995, Mr. Henry Sorrell, who later became my mentor, knocked on my cell door. And here it was, me, looking at this old white man. I had no intentions of talking to him about Jesus or God, anything. But when you looked at him, you knew something was different about him. And so I stood there and I listened to him. And here's the thing that really, really made a difference in my life. He told me, he said, "No, we are not supposed to give out our addresses, but God wants me to save your life. I want you to write me," and he gave me his address. From 1995 until 2011, Mr. Henry Sewell walked with me in prison. He helped me to publish 7 little booklets that I wrote. He allowed me to start my ministry writing, which was published and given to other prisons. But he helped me to see a different side of life. When Mr. Henry Sorrell passed away, I didn't know how we was going to continue the ministry. And out of nowhere, Pastor Terry Northway wrote me and said, "No, we want you to continue your ministry. We're going to support you." And so I was trying to understand how did God allow me to do what I was doing, because I had no money to do all this. But there were people on the outside, college professors, business people, career workers, people that didn't even know me was contributing to my ministry to help get it published and get it out. And in 2013, Mr. Tony Garcia, the head of the prison commission, came to my cell. He said he was going to retire in 5 years, which is 2018. He said, if you give me 5 years good in population, I'm going to let you out. I want to see you go home. I wasn't due to come for parole to 2030 something. But here this man was telling me he was going to let me out before he retired. And so they put me in population. And it was in population that I was able, people that knew me was like, man, he done changed. And, I was just a different person. Because my mentor, his life meant something to me. And in 2018, true to his word, Mr. Tony Garcia, the parole commissioner, came to me on this Dale unit and said, I'm letting you go home because I'm retired. And they gave me parole. But it took me 2 years to get out of prison. I was going crazy. I didn't know what was going on. But Pastor Terry was like, just hold on. God has a plan. In 2020, there was halfway houses that were open, and when I got there, I couldn't believe it. These places were like shotgun houses. I mean, they were tore up, trash everywhere. The homeowner association people, they was getting ready to close them down. But Pastor Terry said, go talk to them and tell them we're going to buy them and give us 2 years to get it up and running. Pastor Terry had never met me. All he knew was from my writings and our conversations on the phone from prison. And when I talked to the homeowners association in that area, they said, okay, let's see what you can do with these houses. And Pastor Terry sent $1.2 million down, and we rebuilt those houses. And as people can see now, they're the two best halfway houses in the state of Texas, called House of the Risen Son. I'm able to help guys get out of prison. I'm helping to get on their feet, get them jobs, get them back with their families, their wives, their kids. And my life is fulfilled this way. And because of that, I do everything that I can do to help one person at a time to get their lives together. And my mission in life now is to make sure that when you get out, you stay out. That you get away from the drugs, get away from the alcohol, get away from the wild life, and just learn to live and enjoy every moment that God has blessed you with your freedom.
So right now, because people are watching this and some are incarcerated, the houses are full right now.
Yes.
And there's a waiting list.
Yes.
And so the reason I'm saying that, because there are people watching who need a halfway house. His houses are full right now. I just visited both of them today. Nice houses. But he's attempting to get some more. And some other individuals, including the organization that I'm working for, are attempting to get built what we have a dream of. So keep hope. But I want to touch really quick. What was your old frame of mind that allowed you, put you in a set of circumstances where you spent over 30 years of your life in prison? And how did that change? Because there's somebody watching who may have been like you or who may have thought like you. Can you let us know where you were at and how you got to where you at now?
Let's just be honest, man. I was a monster. I grew up on the streets of South Central Los Angeles. Every day, there's no in between. Either you a sheep or you a wolf, and I wasn't about to be no sheep. So human life actually meant just nothing to me. I didn't care whether you live or die. It didn't matter to me, because only two things, it was survival. That's how South Central is. Every day there's gun violence. Every day there's a death. Every day there's a rape. Every day there's a beat down. I mean, life was just that hard. Now people say, well, I don't want to hear no excuses. No, there's no excuses, but when you live in this environment, it makes you act a certain way. And if you are weak, you don't survive. And I wasn't planning on being weak, so I became that monster that society said I was. Well, am I proud of that? No. Do I glorify, oh man, I was the big monster? No. I look back and see I was the problem. I became a problem for my own community. And so prison, that 30 year in prison, at first, I was still that person. But when I met Mr. Henry Sorrell, that changed everything for me. I no longer wanted to be that monster. I no longer wanted to be that violent individual everybody's shied away from. I no longer wanted to have that hatred and that evil that was inside of me. I just want to be someone that people look at and say, Mr. Dixon, can I talk to you for a minute? I have a problem. I want to be able to help that person. You know, it's a different feeling than when people fear you and stay away from you, than when people come up to you because they trust you to help them in the right situations.
Okay. Now, if you were speaking directly to the young version of you, what do you think you could say to him that would somehow maybe change the trajectory of his life?
Don't believe that gang love is all love. Only God's love is the only love that you need. Street life, you know, let me just shoot straight with you right here. So many young guys get out here and they get these girls pregnant. They can't take care of themselves. You can't take care of the baby. And so then you got a baby that grows up to be nothing but a criminal himself because that baby, that little young boy or a little young girl didn't have the proper guidance. So if you're a young man right now, don't worry about having sex all the time or smoking because your friends smoke or want to rob because your friends are robbing. That leads a one-way prison to a one-way prison cell. And I'm just going to tell you right now, a lot of guys on the streets with the gun in their hand, they come into prison, they turn out to be girls because they not built tough like that. I got a nephew right now that we are allowing him to go to prison. He's going to Ferguson. He robbed a man at gunpoint. Now, we could have got a lawyer and got him and probably got this kicked out, but I'm not helping him like that. My little brother died because of gang violence, and his son is going down that same road. Now, he just got 10 years, but when he get to Ferguson and get them heart checks, he gonna realize he not built for prison. And sometimes it takes that. Prison is hard. Ain't no guns and all that up in there. You got to, come from your hands or you stuck out. And so my advice to any young man who thinks that the street life is what it's about, think hard and long before you enter that world of criminal activity. Because it's just not everything that it's made up to be. Yeah, you might make a quick score and you got your nice car, but when you get caught, don't start crying about tears now. Don't start asking people to help you get out of this jam now. Fade that heat, because I guarantee you some of you guys can't fade what prison got to offer you, and that's heart checks every day. I know guys that were tough on the streets and they sit in their cell every day scared to go to day room because they thought they were tough, but they realized they nothing but sheep. So many young guys in prison get raped because they can't protect themselves. I hate to say that, but that's the reality of prison life. You get in there with guys that got 4 or 5 life sentences, they care nothing about your life. So if you think that you tough and hard, don't try prison, because you're gonna realize for real that you wasn't built for tough. And I'm telling you now, I had to hurt people in prison when I first got there. I was young. Everybody wanted to try me, and I literally, had knives in my hand every day to survive. Till people say, nah, we won't mess with him no more. But if you ain't ready to protect your life, you ready to just lay it down, leave prison alone. Go to school, get a job, get an education, get a trade, make something in your life. Young kids don't understand. Like young girls, quit thinking that every boy wants to be with you, and just because you're pretty, and next thing you know, you got 2 or 3 babies before you even 18 years old. Now you stuck in the system with welfare. You young girls out there need to understand that it's not all about your body, it's all about your mind right now. Get yourself together. I know so many young girls wish they could have went back to school, but now they stuck at home with 2, 3, even 4 babies, and they're not even 18 years old. And the guys, they got 4 different baby daddies. Now all they can do is look to the state for welfare to help them. This is an ongoing situation, and I can go on and on about this, man, because I'm passionate about it.
Okay. Let me ask you 2 more questions. What have you seen be the greatest trip up for individuals getting out of prison?
Wanting to get rich quick. Want that car too fast. Oh, I can't catch the bus. Oh man, my homeboy want to give me a come up. Yeah, prison is like Motel 6. They always got the light on for you. So if you want to get out here and you think you're gonna get rich quick, we got guys over at the halfway house. They start working at Popeyes and Burger King and Wendy's. Then they got them a car. Then they got a better job. And then from that job, they got a better job. Now they all making $25, $30 an hour. It ain't quick. But if you get out here with your mind made up, there's a lot of people out here that are willing to help you if you're willing to help yourself. But if you want to get out here thinking that the world owes you something, that's where you're wrong. The world owes you nothing. The only person that you can rely on is yourself, but the most important person you can rely on is God the Father. You have to trust Him to guide you through the storms of life. Because there's a lot of storms out here. But if you think that you can get out here and do it yourself, you're wrong. You're going to need help. So many men fail because they get the wrong kind of help. They want that come up fast money. Man, give me a sack. You know, so many girls get out here with that mentality that, well, shoot, you know, I just need to do this, you know, for a few hours, a few days, and I could get some money and I can move on. Then you know, they stuck prostitute. I seen this. I lived this life. And so my thing is get out here with your mind made up that you're just going to do right, no matter how, you know, if you just make a few dollars on your paycheck, at least it's legal. And then you build up from there. Don't give in to the fast money syndrome.
Okay, last question. If you were speaking to somebody who they have a life without parole and they in prison, whether it's a woman or a man, how would you tell them something that would help them live life even there?
Make your life count. So what, you messed up? We all did. Some people get out, some people don't. You have life in prison, but that don't mean your life is over. Get an education, become a peer educator. Teach the young kids, maybe you're not getting out, so don't be bitter about that. Maybe God has you in there for one reason, and that is that your voice could make a difference in some young kids like this that had a chance to get out. You know, I never thought I would get out. I really didn't. I thought I would die in prison. But God saw fit to open doors for me, and I'm grateful for that. And so if you're still in prison with a life sentence without the possibility of parole, your life still matters. Make something of your life that you can give back to some young kid who maybe just made a little mistake. He can get out and make something in his life. Your voice counts. Just because you're behind prison walls does not mean your life does not matter.
Well, I appreciate you. I appreciate everybody for tuning in today. Know that when you're trying to make a difference, God will provide doors and windows of opportunity. We met because one of the gentlemen in his halfway houses needed a job. But from that point, we've been together since 7:30 this morning. Him sharing what he does, me sharing what I do, and hoping that we can help some people. So you guys be blessed today. Any closing words?
You got to keep the faith, no matter how. I'll tell you one thing. When it rains outside, what do you have to do? You have to get an umbrella. You need that umbrella to keep the rain off. And that's how it is with your faith. You have to carry that umbrella of faith. No matter what storms you face, you keep that faith that God will see you through it. The storm may come, but it will go away. But faith has to remain no matter what. So just keep your faith.
Thank you.
God bless you.